Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how's it going?
Hey, super. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Halfway through the week, and I cannot believe that we only have a couple days left, and it's going to be August.
That is insane to
me. It seems like the 4th of July was just the other day. I remember the firecrackers booming and everything. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And now it's the 29th of July. I mean, I have no clue what happened in the middle there. Apparently something, because it has gone fast. Moving on. We got a lot of fun stuff that we're going to be doing today, and we're going to start with this little-known fact. What country is the largest importer of American-made cars? What do you think that would be? Which country is the largest importer of American-made cars? I can tell you this, they could drive them there.
Oh, Canada.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, Canada.
That would make sense.
You are correct. Canada is the largest importer of American cars. Never really thought of that before, but it makes a ton of sense.
I've never thought of it at all, but
do they make cars there at all?
I don't know.
I've never heard of a Canadian car.
They possibly could. I just don't know which ones are Canadian.
There you go. We'll have to check into that. Thank you so much for listening. It's the John and Heidi Show, extremely well-informed couple, right here on a Wednesday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but a tiny purple microbe that had been dormant for 120,000 years deep beneath glacial ice has been brought back to life in a science lab. No, this one's not going to take over the world or cause any pandemic. It's harmless to humans, we hope, but they brought it back to life. This little tiny purple microbe. Not exactly sure what they were working on there, but they're like, hey, let's give this one CPR and see what happens.
Huh.
So they brought a microbe back to life.
But we don't know what it does?
We don't know much about it, other than it's been dormant for 120,000 years.
Maybe there's a reason for that.
I think there was a note in there that says, been sleeping since, 120,000 BC. I don't know. I'm not sure how they know that it's been dormant that long.
And if we haven't needed it since then, why bring it back?
I don't know. But they're working on stuff, I'm sure that's important to somebody. I'm not exactly sure. Could we please redirect your attention to curing cancer?
Let's cure cancer. Let's figure out a cure for diabetes.
Maybe this thing is a cure for those things. There you go. We could find out. Coming up, I got a really funny story. And it's true because you'll hear it on the radio. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVWheelator.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVWheelator.com.
Every day, the world just gives me a gift.
Okay.
People keep doing dumb things for this program here. And this little segment is called I Heard It on the Radio. That's how you know it's true. Authorities in Danville, Kentucky say that a woman drove through Dairy Queen's drive-thru. They ordered $2.12 worth of food, and she paid with a bill clearly marked as moral legal tender to preserve the U.S. Constitution, and the denomination was $200.
There's no such thing as a $200 bill.
If the idea of a $200 bill wasn't crazy enough, the fake bill was taped together. It featured President George W. Bush smirking from in the portrait section. The Treasury seal was marked with the right to bear arms. The bill gives credit to Ronald Reagan as political mentor and Bush's father as his campaign advisor and mentor.
Oh, good Lord.
On the back, the traditional White House scene is there with an oil well pumping oil on the lawn. Yard signs planted in the foreground read, "We like broccoli and rooms not for rent." Here's the scariest part. The scariest part of this whole story. The clerk handed over $197 and change. Yeah. Authorities say whoever passed the bill will not be charged with counterfeiting, but will face other charges. So somebody handed them a bill that had all of that stuff going on.
Well, yeah, they can't be charged with counterfeiting because they weren't counterfeiting anything.
No,
I mean,
they made a fake bill.
Copying a different bill, so it's not counterfeiting.
They handed over a $200 bill, and the kid working there at the old Dairy Queen said, "Oh, here's $197 back."
Wow.
That is crazy.
That is sad is what it is, that our youth are that...
not smart, really. And I'm not saying that I'm a genius by any means.
But I would know there's no such thing as a $200 bill.
There's not. And if you had a question, you'd think you'd at least ask a manager and say, hey, I've never seen one of these before. This lady's paying with a $200 bill. That's just nuts.
Wow.
Well, you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Police charged Terrence Forte was sleeping it off in the drive-thru lane of McDonald's. Employees at a fast food place in Camden, Arkansas became concerned when Forte was slow to pick up his order. They called the police, and the officers say they found him catching some Z's behind the wheel. According to a police report, Forte was asleep inside the car with the engine running and his foot on the brake. His blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit. He was busted for driving while intoxicated, even though he wasn't actually driving at the time.
But if you're in your vehicle and the key is in the ignition, whether the vehicle is running or not.
He was driving because the car was running. He was parked at the time. That is so dangerous to go drinking and driving is a bad idea, period. But it's dangerous to fall asleep behind the wheel. He didn't even park. He had his foot on the brake. What if his foot would have slipped off the brake? That could have been terrible. So quick thinking folks working there said...
always have a designated driver.
Yes.
Always.
My beautiful wife here, Heidi, you like to have a beer or 12.
I do.
And some wine, a box or two.
And some shots.
And the nice thing is...
Some gin and tonics.
When we go places...
Pretty much anything with alcohol in it.
That all works out fine because I tend to not drink.
You are the designated driver.
I'll be the designated driver.
And I am the designated drinker.
And the next day I'm the designated storyteller.
It works
guess
well.
what you did last night? You'll never believe it. Oh, by the way, here's your... never mind. All right. This has been your brain on drugs.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Two robbers are not satisfied with the amount of money from one of their victims. Have you ever wondered why there's never a loss of stupid criminal stories? It's because there's so many dumb people out there. And this one is from Cincinnati, Ohio. A couple guys jumped into a woman's car to steal her money. Unfortunately, all she had was $8. So what'd they do? Well, they stole the $8. But they said, if that's all we get, people are going to laugh. We can't just take off with $8. So they had her go into a grocery store where she could cash a check and get more money. Didn't even occur to her that while she was in there, maybe she'd tell somebody, and that's what they did. The police came.
Man.
The robbers are not too smart for that one, but they got caught. They're like, well, go in there and write a check, and just bring us some cash. We'll wait out here. Yeah, go ahead. Go in there and write that check.
If I had the mindset for it, I would be an awesome thief.
You would not.
I would.
You don't have the conscience for it because
but as I just said, if I had the mindset for it, I could do.
We're not going to go
all
there.
All of these people are so stupid.
They are. And that's because God is very brilliant. He said, I'm going to give you this idea to go steal things, but I'm not going to make you smart enough to get away with any of them. And that's going to give John and Heidi fun stuff to talk about. So thank you, God. Appreciate it. Coming up, we have your Scoop of the Day.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, the Scoop of the Day. Some churches are going to be really high-tech and keep track of those who attend. More than a couple dozen churches around the world have installed a facial recognition system to monitor who is there on Sundays. The system is called Churchix. It was developed in Israel by a software company. So they're going to scan the congregation to know who's there.
I don't think that's necessary. Do you?
Reportedly has 99% accuracy. So,
but is that necessary? What do they need to know that for? I have
no idea. What are they going to do if you don't show up? They're going to send you a message and say, hey,
it's been a while since you've been here.
We noticed as we were scanning the audience with our digital device that you weren't here this weekend.
Is that really necessary? I mean, the only person who really needs to know is God, and he's going to know whether you have that information or not.
Well, this is something that's kind of a new thing, and they're doing it.
That's ridiculous.
Chicago blogger, that's fun to say, Chicago blogger Jill Cataldo, I just call her Jill. She knew her readers wouldn't believe what she had seen, even if she presented them with a photo. Her local Walgreens store, there was a full display of Halloween treats, including candy corn and Snickers pumpkins Halloween on July 21st. So to prove she wasn't making it up, she had her husband grab a newspaper, so she photographed the date next to the Halloween candy display, and it was last week on the 21st. She got a photo. There was a Walgreens with Halloween stuff out already. I can see back to school. We're getting close to that.
Christmas stuff will be out before long, so why not get a jump start on Halloween?
There you go. Videos released this week show a Houston area man recording his wife giving birth to her 10-pound baby boy
I saw that.
next to him as he drove through traffic.
Yeah.
In an unsuccessful effort to reach a birthing center in time. Jonathan and Lisa Pettijohn were stuck in traffic for more than an hour. Then her water broke, forcing her to self-deliver their newborn son, Josiah. So that is crazy. Energy drinks are understudied and overused and can be dangerous for children and teens, according to a report by doctors who say kids shouldn't use energy drinks.
Agreed.
The potential harms caused mostly by too much caffeine or similar ingredients include heart palpitations, seizures, strokes, even sudden death. The authors write this in the Journal of Pediatrics. And I had a story somewhere that was talking about how milk does a lot of the same things. I'll see if I can find that. I don't know where I have it now, but they were saying milk, believe it or not, does a lot of the same things that sports drinks do. So,
really?
I'll have to read that. We'll find it, and then I'll get to that later maybe. We're finally giving up. Fewer people are dieting, and women are leading the decline. In 1992, 35% of women said they were dieting. Last year, that was down to 23%.
Yeah, I'm one of them fell off that wagon.
Helping in that trend is the perception that skinny is not all that attractive now. They're saying, you know what? That lady could use a cheeseburger. So, in 1985, 55% of women were... what does that say? 55% of people thought people who were not overweight were more attractive. That number now has dropped to 1 in 4, so 25%. So they're saying if you're too skinny, that used to be okay, but nowadays you're like,
no,
too
too skinny is gross. I agree with that. But
also,
so is too big. I think I've crossed that fine line. It's
you got to find a happy medium.
For me to go backwards again.
Why is it when I say happy medium, all I can think of is a Happy Meal? Take a medium drink. I don't know. Maybe that means
this could be part of the problem.
I have a problem. All right, time to move on to our strange law. I was looking for that story about the milk. I'll find it. I promise you I will. There's a hot market in used bridges in the USA, according to this. A 15-year-old federal law requires states to offer for sale any bridge with historical or architectural value before tearing it down. So far, Pennsylvania has led in the trend of selling 300 bridges.
Where on earth would you put a bridge?
I don't know. That space in the backyard. I don't want to mow over there. Let's just put a bridge there. I have no clue. I don't know if people are buying them for scrap. I don't know what they're buying them for. But historical and architectural value, people are buying bridges. Who has to tear it down? Huh?
Who has to tear it down?
I'm guessing you if you buy it.
How?
I have no clue. All I know is I'm not in the market for a bridge, so I don't even want the listings. Got a
Could
feeling
you
people
imagine trying to do that? Yeah. Tearing down a bridge?
What are you doing Saturday? I'm going fishing. What are you doing? I'm going to tear down a bridge I bought. All right, this has been your Scoop of the Day. Thank you so much for listening on a Wednesday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. I've got a special guest on the line with me, Jeff Bova. Jeff, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great. I'm great, son.
Very good. Now, Grammy award-winning producer and musician. That's pretty darn cool. And you've got a really neat thing you guys are doing right now called Harmonize Your Home. Tell me a little bit about Harmonize Your Home.
Yes, Harmonize Your Home is a project where we've taken the art of Feng Shui, which is the art of placement, ancient Chinese art of placement, and music, put them together to use sound to help influence a person's space in their home, in their office. And using sound to actually give you, say, the ideal environment and support the environment so that you can have either a comfortable, peaceful home, if you need more energy for your business, all that. And it's all through using the science of sound and acoustics.
That's very cool. So by adjusting the sound in the environment, it adjusts everything else around it in the environment.
Exactly. The principle is that vibration impacts matter. So if you play a sound into a space, and you notice when you're playing music at home, it begins to take on the vibration or the feeling that the music gives. And we do this very deliberately by actually toning in pitches that attune the room or attune your space to specific frequencies, and they resonate with that.
That's really cool. Now, as a Grammy award-winning producer and musician, you get to collaborate with people on things all the time, but this is quite the collaboration with a Feng Shui expert and author, Carol Heider. This is kind of a unique collaboration. Is this the first time something like this has happened?
As far as I know, yes. In a way, the Feng Shui, Carol Heider is a Feng Shui master, is acting almost in a way as the director of the movie. And the movie we're trying to create here is within the environment of your home. You want to create a peaceful, calming place, then by using the sound and the music to create that feeling and in the actual space itself. So she's given me all the directions, so to speak, on what needs to be achieved to get to this particular state. And
again, the project is called Harmonize Your Home. So when it's all said and done, will there be like a CD that I play in my home, or how do I get the sounds in my home?
Yeah, you can have a CD, or you can have a download of the music. You can play it through your computer, and what we actually suggest, which has really been a unique thing for me, is usually when I'm creating music, I've worked with artists everywhere from Luther Vandross to Celine Dion. I've made songs and records for people to listen to have an effect on them. What this is creating the music and the sound to have an effect on the home, because in the Feng Shui world, the home has an energy and a life to itself, and you're kind of cohabitating with it. So if your home is aligned in a supportive way for your life, then also that environment is supportive to you. So we've used it to actually play in the home. You can go out to work, just let it cycling in your home overnight or during the day while you're at work, and come back, and those vibrations will have been instilling themselves in your home. And it's fascinating how it works, and it really works. When she first described to me how we would do this, I was amazed that it actually has an effect.
This is a really neat collaboration. Again, we're visiting with Grammy award-winning producer and musician Jeff Bova. Now, I see the website harmonizeyourhome.net. If I go there, I can learn more about what you guys are doing, and you're also doing a little online funding campaign. Can I find that information right on that website as well?
That's right, it is. Yeah, just go to harmonizeyourhome.net, and you can find our campaign there. And we have a really interesting video where we actually do a walkthrough of a person's home. Carol gives it a Feng Shui assessment, and then I compose music and sound to help support what they needed in their home. And it's really intriguing to watch all the different aspects of what they call the 5 Chinese elements. And if some of those elements are weaker in your house, it won't support, again, just different aspects of your life. And what we do with the sound is sort of basically accent it, so to help reinforce that part of the energy that's out of balance in the home.
That's really interesting. Again, the website is harmonizeyourhome.net. We've been visiting with Jeff Bova, a Grammy award-winning producer and musician. Jeff, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, John. Thank you so much.
If you'd like to know more, or if you'd like to contribute to their online campaign, be sure to go check out the website, harmonizeyourhome.net. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by carsforsale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at carsforsale.com.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Today is Wednesday. It's the 29th day of July. We're almost done with this month. I think Garfield will be happy. Today is Lasagna Day.
Oh.
You know, that's something I really like, but we hardly ever have it.
I never make it.
I know you don't. Why? You don't like making? Do you like lasagna?
Because I like spaghetti.
I like spaghetti too, but lasagna is good for a change. Hey, it's also National Chicken Wing Day. There's something I could go without personally.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. They're a lot of work, and there's not a lot to them.
What's your favorite
crab
piece of chicken?
legs.
What's your favorite piece of chicken, though? The breast. I'm a thigh guy. I don't know why. I just like, if there's a whole pile of chicken there, I'm like, I'm going to go for that thigh. And then it's National Rain Day today. So I wonder why today, middle of the summer, seems like a weird time for rain day. You'd think that'd be in
Maybe it's
April.
like praying for rain day.
Could be. Maybe. I don't know. But today is a special day nonetheless. Get out there and celebrate one way or another. I'm going to celebrate while having some lasagna.
There you go.
You're going to make me lasagna?
No.
I'm going to have to find somebody to do it. It is a special day. It is Wednesday, the 29th day of July.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
Generosity is a great thing, but if you're giving something away, you should make sure it's yours to give.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is an interesting story, and I can see both sides of this, and I don't know the whole story, but I'm going to share what I do know. If you're working at McDonald's and you're approached by a beggar for some free burgers, should you give them a burger or two or not?
No, because it's not yours. You're an employee.
Here's what happened. 22-year-old Frenchman Remy Millet did that and was fired for giving 5 cheeseburgers to a woman who was begging for food.
Now, I will say, if they've been on that warmer forever and they're going to be thrown in the garbage, it'd be better to give them away.
Well, before we comment, I'm going to read the rest of the story, and then we do have time to comment.
Okay.
Upset beyond comprehension, Millet is suing McDonald's for a year's pay. His manager claims that he was fired for giving away burgers time and time and time again. So it wasn't just these 5 burgers. Many of the burgers he gave away were not to beggars, but they were to anybody. Friends of his that were coming in.
Okay.
Co-workers agree, and they testified it against Millet in court. So he's suing them for being fired for giving away 5 burgers to a homeless woman. Now, here's the thing. Like Heidi said, if there's food that they were going to throw away anyway, I would love to see that go to somebody in need. I really would.
But not to your buddies. I mean, if your friends are coming in, they were going to buy food, and you say, oh, don't buy any. These ones were about to get thrown in the garbage. That's
needs
not right.
to be done in the proper way. You can't, as a kid that works there, just decide, well, I'm going to just do this. You need to come up. I don't know whose decision, manager on duty, I suppose,
really hope
come
he
up with a
loses
plan.
that lawsuit. That's ridiculous.
It's in France. Now, I don't know if they've got the runaway system like we have here, where we have
It's
ridiculous
insane.
things. You know, some of the stories that we read where people suing for things, I'm just like, why in the world is that even in court? But it'll be interesting to see. Again, that happened in France. 22-year-old Frenchman, Remy Millet, Millet. So if you want to go on and look, he was fired for giving away cheeseburgers to a homeless woman begging for food. Coming up, we got a different kind of drive-through we're going to be chatting about. Kind of creepy. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
I believe it would be pretty easy for me to prove this statement. We are getting lazier as a society.
Oh, yeah. Very easy to prove.
If you disagree with me, kick back and relax for a moment as I share a fun tale. From Spartanburg, South Carolina, G.W. Thompson is the owner of the Chapel of Remembrance. And they have a drive-through window. Yes, they've created a funeral home with a drive-through window.
Okay, I think I have read this online.
Mourners can pay their final respects without even getting out of their car. It's kind of like the idea of going to a bank or a drive-through food place, but instead of seeing a teller or a young man or woman back there asking if you want fries with that, instead you see your friend in their coffin.
Awful.
That is just creepy. I cannot even imagine who thought that would be a good idea. Who's too lazy to pay their final respects by going inside? And I'm saying,
and if
there's
you
got to
weren't
be a
that
way.
good of friends to begin with, why bother going at all?
Like,
I mean,
hey,
if you weren't
see
close
Chuck.
enough to that person to walk inside.
This is how much you meant to me. Thank you so much, Chuck. I appreciate it. You know, I just don't understand that at all. Isn't that just weird? All right, that's a different kind of drive-through right there.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
For those of you who are germophobic, listen up. If you want to stay away from germs during your next hotel stay, Don't turn on the lights. Don't turn on the TV. New research shows that TV remotes and light switches are the most contaminated areas in hotel rooms. The highest level of contamination were found in the maid's cleaning cart, specifically on the mop and the sponge. That's a problem because that is supposed to be bacteria-free, and that carries gunk from room to room. According to researchers, they say cross-contamination could be reduced, but it would require replacing cleaning liquids during housekeeper shifts. And they say that the lowest level of bacteria was found on the headboard, the curtain rods, and the bathroom door handle. So they're saying those are the cleanest places. So hang out on your headboard and you'll be just fine. Unless, of course, everybody does that. Then all of a sudden we'll have a whole new bunch of problems. I'm a bit of a germaphobe.
If you want to stay away from germs, just don't stay in a hotel, period.
Home.
Because if you could turn on...
I'm a bit of a germaphobe.
One of those black lights or get some luminol in that room, you would never go anywhere ever again.
When we stay places, I put the do not disturb sign. I don't want to make in my room up while we're there. I'm like, just leave it. We're only here a day. Nobody cleans my room every day at home.
I do.
Well, you do, but that doesn't count.
And it drives me crazy if somebody isn't clean. In fact, when you put that sign up, I am cleaning the room. You're like, why are you making the bed? Why are you cleaning the room? It drives me crazy.
Anyway. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Got a couple of stories here. Let's see if we can maybe get through both of these. According to a study from the University of Texas at Austin, milk and 100% whole grain cereal, which contain protein and carbohydrates, help rebuild damaged tissues at least as well, if not better than, specialized sports drinks. So instead of powering up on all those aid things, this aid or that aid, all you need to do is have a bowl of Wheaties or whatnot. It says here, it doesn't have to be Wheaties. 100% whole grain cereal. I saw Wheaties at the store the other day. They're expensive.
They're very expensive.
We don't get those. Are they? We don't get those.
I like Wheaties.
I was walking through the aisle. I was like, oh, can't get enough Super Golden Crisp. I'm like, whoa, why did these things get so expensive?
They're very expensive. But you know what was on sale?
What's that?
Honeycomb.
Oh, yeah. We haven't had that in a long time.
I love honeycomb, so I bought some honeycomb.
You know, my favorite cereal is probably Blueberry. We never get that.
My favorite is Blueberry. I love Blueberry and I love Frankenberry. You can only find them at Halloween time.
Count Chocula was good, too.
Count Chocula was good, but not as good as Frankenberry and Blueberry. There are lots of chocolate cereals.
I'm pretty sure we've gotten off track here. According to this study, sports drinks are good, but even better, milk and whole grain cereal. This is the study I was looking for earlier. Remember? We talked about...
No, you said milk is bad for you and it causes seizures.
What are you talking about? I never said that.
Yes, you did.
When did I say that?
Earlier in the show.
No, I never ever said that. That never came out of my mouth.
Yes, you did. You read something that said that energy drinks, if kids are drinking energy drinks, it causes seizures and it's bad for you. And then you said, and I read somewhere that milk does the same thing.
No. What I said, if I said that, I'm sorry. What I meant to say was, I read a story about milk provides, because they were saying that kids are taking these things so they would feel better and for the sports drink reasons.
Oh, I completely misunderstood.
Well then, I owe Milk an apology. Milk, I still love you. I'm a big fan of Milk.
Big Milk was getting their team of lawyers together. They're going to sue you for slander.
Hey, I drink so much milk. If I would win that lawsuit.
You do drink a ton of milk.
If I would get sued, I'd countersue. Just give me milk all day long. I'll be good. Something else that I love? Honey. I don't know why. I love honey. I love milk. I am so weird. Coming up in a bit, we're going to have a great feel-good story to end the program. That's on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
Try to end the program with a feel-good story, and I think this is one of those. Kansas police officer Mark Engrave, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, he was called to the store to investigate where Sarah Robinson was caught stealing diapers and baby wipes and shoes for her children, about $300 worth of stuff.
All right.
After he sat down and talked to her and heard the story, he instead decided to make a difference. According to the BCN article, Robinson and her kids have been living in her car ever since her husband had a recent... He drowned a few years back. He passed away.
Oh.
And she said that she felt that she didn't really have any other way to provide what was needed. That's when the officer stepped up and helped out using his own money. He went back into the store and purchased the items, including the shoes for the children, $300 worth of stuff, and handed them over.
That's
How
amazing.
awesome is that? Why is that story about that officer not on the TV news tonight?
Doesn't fit the agenda. That's
because
why it's not on the
it seems to me that every time you see, and now you got to understand, I'm going to come clean and tell you,
so many brilliant, wonderful, awesome police officers out there.
I'm going to say, because I have to say this, my father was a policeman when I was a little boy. I have 3 brother-in-laws that are policemen right now. So my perspective is probably different from some, but I will tell you this, these police officers, they're people first. They're people. People make mistakes. So I'm not saying that every police officer in the country is a great police. I don't know that. Just like any other industry, you're going to have some that are good and some that are bad. But by and large, I think you've got a lot of people who put their life on the line.
If you think of how many officers there are, and then the few bad stories that you hear, how many officers are that are not doing bad things, that's got to be taken into consideration.
Hats off to this officer in Kansas. What an awesome thing.
Absolutely.
So awesome that he did what he did. Very, very cool. All right. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We appreciate you joining us. Coming up tomorrow, I've got an author that I'll be visiting with, Nadia, and she's got a couple of cool books out we're going to be chatting about. That's on the way tomorrow on the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can save money and save time by picking up your razors instead of going all the way to the store. How cool would it be to walk to your mailbox and pick them up? Wouldn't that be cool, Heidi?
That'd be very cool.
It's like a fantasy.
It is cool.
It's like some sort of crazy bizarro world, where they'll bring razors right to you.
And we don't have to imagine it. We live it.
I do, every single month. And I'm excited because I switched to a different level of razor this month. I'm going to see, because I have 2 accounts, because I'm kind of a nut. I have the Humble Twin, and I've gotten those, and those are nice. But then I went with the Executive, which is like the bestest of the bestest. I love those. And now I took the Humble Twin off, and I moved that one up to the middle of the road, so the $6 one. So I'm going to try those out and see. I can't really tell you guys what I think of them unless I think of them, right?
Sure.
There you go. If you'd like to try them out for yourself, check out the old website, dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Here's a story for you. 95-year-old Jewish man. He escaped Nazi-occupied Austria. He was helped out by a bunch of Christians. He is now returning the favor. He's funding the rescue of Christians from Iraq and Syria.
How fantastic.
What goes around comes around. This is such a cool thing. According to the ChristianHeadlines.com, George Winfield, publishing mogul, has set up the Winfield Safe Havens. It's a fund to support the rescue of up to 2,000 Christians from regions of ISIS control. With the funding, Iraq and Syrian Christians are being flown via private jet to Poland. Once they're safely in the country, he is funding their new lives for 12 to 18 months.
I love that. That is awesome. A fantastically brilliant story.
Paying it forward. He knows that he's a 95-year-old Jewish man who has escaped from Nazi Germany. Nazi-occupied Austria is where he was at. He knows that he would have been dead without the help of the Christians back in the day, and now he's helping Christians.
That is
up
wonderful.
To 2,000 of them. He put a fund together and said, get as many as you can. I'll 2,000 people that he's supporting, not just to get them out, but he's supporting them for 12 to 18 months. That's a year and a half.
I love that story
that
so
is
much.
Awesome. So very, very cool. Because, we all the time share stories about dumb people doing dumb things. I want to be able to share some people that are smart doing smart things, too. Now let's go back to the dumb people. Victims told the court in Salzburg, Austria, that she had not come across such a well-mannered criminal in a long time. The man grabbed the old woman's bag and ran off. Then he returned when he noticed that she had fallen to the ground.
We've talked about
No,
this.
we haven't.
All right.
We talked about a guy that stole a lady's car.
And then came back into the house and said, I can't get the garage.
Different.
Okay.
She actually said...
It's a different dumb guy that stole from an old lady.
When he saw me fall, he came back. Criminals just don't do that anymore.
We've read this, babe.
Well, we didn't.
Okay.
She went on to say, he was a very neat and well-mannered young man, and he asked me not to report him. She said she was really sorry, but he said, I'm really sorry, I was just desperate for money. Nevertheless, the 27-year-old polite punk did get arrested, and he is serving 2.5 years. Huh. But I got to tell you, I'm proud of that 27-year-old punk for at least being nice enough to care. He came back when he saw that she fell down.
Right.
A lot of guys would have just kept on running. And those are the kind of guys that would be stealing purses.
But the good guys would have never taken her purse in the first place.
I understand. So. And he says right in there, he said, I'm sorry, I was just desperate for money.
Go get a freaking job.
Exactly.
Or go
get a job.
Do
I'll bet
something.
If he would have talked to her and just said, I'm really hard up for money, can you help me out? She probably would have said yes. She sounds like a nice lady. So I'm not saying you should be robbing people. I'm just saying if you rob somebody and they fall down, you help them up.
Yeah.
Am I an accomplice now? All right. We're moving on. Thanks for joining us. You're listening to the John and Heidi Show. The bonus break, that wonderful thing we just talked about, is brought to you. They don't want to be accomplices, but they're involved now. DollarShaveClub.com/radio.